Hello, everybody. And it's Teepa and Matthew again with Time with Teepa. And today's question comment came from a gentleman who has a wife who has progressed in her dementia. She is in a residential care program, needing substantial assistance, and he has provided care at home until such time as he couldn't quite do that anymore on his own. And he needed more help and more help and more help. And now, when he spends time with her, she doesn't seem to recognize him as her husband. She recognizes him as this nice guy who comes and she greets him in a friendly way, but she doesn't seem to recognize who he is. There's not that level of affection or interaction, but she's friendly. So, in a previous episode, it's that kind of thing where people hear something and they think, oh, yeah, that's what she means. And it's like, so at some point I said marriage vows and dementia. I think we should think about what does it mean to vow, I promise I will love you till death do us part, honor, cherish, care for, and love. And so, this idea of I can love you, I can love lots of people, I can have really intense love for you, but it's not a passionate physical love at this point. It is more of a heart love, a spirit love. I love you as a human being. Um, are you my maritable sex partner? No. Are we that level of physical intimacy intensity anymore? No,
Yeah.
neither of us are feeling that. Because I'm the carer and the care partner, um, it would be like taking advantage of a kid, frankly, and feel like I am taking advantage of a person who doesn't understand adult complex relationships.
And Teepa, this also reminds me of something often that comes up, that idea of, when I'm noticing you're not recognizing me, the
Mhm.
desire for me now to help you, and I truly see it as help
Mhm.
you remember me and know who I am and get you to that place where maybe then you'll want to hug and kiss and be okay with that because you now know who I am.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that overriding sense of like, here, let me help you remember who I am. But then what does that end up doing sometimes to that
Yeah.
relationship?
I mean, the hard part is we are changing. We're both changing. Your brain changes are changing my brain. My brain changes, your brain changes. And I can't give you a right answer for you. I mean, you have faith beliefs, you have individual beliefs, you have spiritual beliefs, you have religious beliefs, whatever those are. My message for every human being is be true to who you are and be true in the spirit
Hmm.
of loving and care. Because when I have someone who is not able to have the level of intimacy we used to have, we just can't. And it could be a friendship for that matter. I mean, I have friends that over the years we've grown and we've changed. And it's like, wow, we have so few things in common. I mean, we still can be friendly with each other, and I can still love you as a human being. I mean, because I believe in loving human beings. And I believe each human being has great value, great worth. That does not mean I need that level of intimacy with you to love you. I can love you in a different way. And then the tricky part comes with, but what about my needs?
Hmm.
My needs for intimacy, my needs for social intimacy, my needs for physical intimacy. And that's where, frankly, each human being is so unique and so different. I would never presume to try to figure out what's best for you. I think what I would ask is, when you figure out that this is what feels good in our relationship, and for a while, yeah, saying, well, I'm Teepa, and you go, oh, well, that's my wife's name. And we spend a little time together, and you go, when did you get here? Like, aha, okay. Now we found each other. And maybe you kiss me on the cheek, or maybe we cuddle. Um, I'm still really aware that this is a risky proposition for us to have a level of intimacy beyond that, unless, like you're seeking it and we're figuring out, am I comfortable with it? Or do I work on a substitution?
Hmm.
And that substitution could be, for me, just go and get a cup of coffee. It could be a substitution of talking to a good friend about these changes and how hard it is. And maybe it's getting a hug from somebody. But for other people, it may be very different.
Yeah.
And probably, oh, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago, I did a program in Alabama. And this idea that others have the right to judge your behavior is like, huh, huh. That's not my job. There's somebody else in my world that's in charge of judgment. It is not me. I am in charge of supporting and spiritual offerings and the idea of friendship offerings and saying, wow, that's very different than what I would do. That's fine. I can say that's different. I don't know whether I would do that or not, but my experience is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I would pause, and I would encourage others to pause. Share experience information if you'd like. Be careful about offering opinions about other people's morality or their spirituality or their intimate behaviors. Be careful. It just can be very painful and isolating. And the whole point of what we do is to try to help people come together and appreciate. Now, what I would say is like trying to get a person who you're married to understand what's happening. Well, that's a whole nother sort of like pause. Let's think about this. Is that reasonable? Or is it that you've got to figure out the duality of what you are going to do? Do you need two different environments, two different situations? Do you have the ability to do that without feeling a sense of guilt or shame or like think about it before you get started if you can. Pause, talk with somebody you trust and figure out what am I going to do? How am I going to do this?
So, Teepa, it sounds like a lot of this is self-evaluation. It's
And
it's
talking to
truly
someone maybe to help you out, work through it.
you got it because that idea of like there's only so much sometimes we can do when we're looking at ourselves and we're trying to figure out,
Yeah,
am I okay? Will I be okay with this? Am I okay with this? Is this something that I'm feeling like is meeting a need, is helping to
yeah,
support me, or is it maybe something else? And then talking to someone who's trusted to get an outside opinion because you often say, bringing in that third person,
third person.
the
Yeah.
difference that can make. And so, okay, so I'm curious though. Okay, so I'm going to flip the script just a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, now what if it's on the other side? Because it's
Mhm.
not uncommon
Yeah.
that we hear from our community that what do I do? My wife or my husband has
Mhm.
now found somebody else in the place
Mhm.
that they're at, and they are in love with them or getting intimate with them, and that's got to stop. And what do I do about that?
Yeah. So this gets tricky because that human being is a changing human being. Their brain is changing, their needs are changing, their impulse control is changing, their ability to see another person's perspective is changing. So again, in my world, I try not to sit in judgment. So it's more of a, okay, so how much time can I do this? What's happening for the kids? Can we have conversations about this to try to figure this out? What is it that the person is lacking? Have I moved into a friend category rather than a partner category because we're too different? Um, ooh, and it sounds like you have a human being who is not a human being.
Oh, yeah,
Is
kitty
he?
cat decided to do something that crashed something over there, but luckily
I
everything's
see
okay.
that.
No broken glass like we talked
No
about
broken glass.
on
All right.
Thursday.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll keep moving then.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's the kind of situation where because we're in a residential program or we're in a day program or we're in a living situation where there are others involved, it could be after we sort of take stock of ourselves and where we are with it, that it's important to bring the team together and work through. Now, again, as the partner who's dealing with this, I may not be the best person to be involved intimately in the team, but I'm hoping there'd be a consultant or a coach or a social worker with expertise who could help us work through this so other people's thoughts and opinions about this um, do not override the person who's living with brain change and me as his surrogate. And again, same gender, different genders, transgender. I mean, all of our person's situation is going to be variable, and we've lived different lives. And so, this sort of phenomena is so complicated. What we do want to do is make sure everybody stays safe as humanly possible, physically safe, emotionally safe, spiritually safe. So it's sort of like having conversations is super important.
Yeah.
Thinking about things before we do anything can be super important. If we've done something, we want to like think it through, talk it through. Super important, because holding on to something like that can really sour relationships very quickly. And we can believe things that are maybe inaccurate or think things that are unfortunate. So for me, marriage vows and dementia, complicated.
Yeah.
But it's important to think about what your vow was and what it is, because sometimes the words we're thinking are not in the same vein they were then.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Excuse me. Till next time, take care of yourself, take care with your care, and take care of one another. Bye all.
Thank you, Teepa. Bye, everybody.